Dear Board of Education Trustees, Dr. Prendergast, Dr. Lendo, and Ms. Newman, on behalf of the Great Chinese Association, we would like to first thank you for leading this premier school district that provides the best education for our children. We are writing to express our belief that our school district should establish a policy that incorporates Asian American Pacific Island AAPI history at each grade level and provide adequate funding to implement a Teach AAPI history policy. Asian American history is American history, from coolies who helped build the transcontinental railroads to the Chinese Exclusion Act, from the invention of fiber optics to Hollywood and Broadway. AAPI history is a complicated tale of sufferings, contributions, and the ultimate pursuit of the American dream. For hundreds of years, AAPI history has always been an indispensable part of American history and American identity. Unfortunately, AAPI history is hard to find in our student textbooks. It is said that if we are not purposely including, we are accidentally excluding. To truly embrace the diverse fabrics of our society, we need to take an affirmative step to teach and discuss the historically marginalized AAPI groups in our country and actively embrace different cultures in schools. History provides us with a sense of identity, with 45% of all grade students being of Asian descent. It is imperative that the history of their ancestors in this country is taught during their formative years at this premier school district. While most of us will teach our children about our history and culture at home, it is still incomparable to learning in the context of a school setting. Learning about the Lunar New Year once a year or through a special project during AAPI Heritage Month in school is simply not enough. Our school district should help our students learn about and to be proud of their history in this country in the context of a regular school setting. History will also help us combat anti-Asian stereotypes, hatred, and bigotry. With the rise of anti-Asian hate crimes, we believe that teaching AAPI history will deliver a long-term change by reducing ignorance and phobia. Today, New York City, New Jersey, California, Connecticut, Illinois, and Rhode Island have all passed the legislation that makes teaching AAPI history a mandate. We appreciate that some teachers in our district have already started to incorporate AAPI history into their curriculum. We strongly urge our school district to pass a Teach AAPI history policy that once again lead the progress and to be the standard bearer for all school districts on Long Island. Thank you.
College, and they compared their education and they came back. Our school is so much better. So we appreciate it. I know you don't get paid with your family to come here at night, and I just want to say thank you first. This is my second time, all these years, it's my second time I've ever come to the school board. Last time I came, it was for pre-K. Mr. Ashkenaz was the board president, and it was, we're talking about having pre-K to all children, universal. And I came to speak on it, my daughter said to go to pre-K because of what you guys decided, and it was, I think we see the difference in as the kids went up the grades, the reading, the writing. Today I'm here, this is the second one, I'm asking our neighbors, our friends, Asian Americans, who really the past 2 years especially, were being bombarded by hate crimes, by name calling, and it hurt me to watch it happen in my own neighborhood. And our own kids name calling other kids. the only way to fight this nonsense is by education. When people see that we're all the same, that we all have lived in this country in our own way, the hate will end. So I ask you to consider and have A and B history part of the course. Thank you.
And to not truly have the opportunity to expand our thought process and challenge ourselves. How proud we are of the multitude of schools in Great Neck being no places for hate by the ADL. In part, hate comes from unknown and misinformation that people have. You don't look like me, you don't pray to the same God as me, or no God at all. You love differently than me, you eat different foods from me. Whatever it is, do you and do we try to learn more about the other person and the other people that we live around? Or do you lean back on the stereotypes and tropes to develop an opinion? That is why I support this proposal and others that increase the line of sight that students have into the background and experiences of others. Education is a gateway to understanding and appreciation of others. And in reality, many come out from the other side of these conversations understanding how similar we are and how our different backgrounds and perspectives are a strength. Thank you to the GNCA for advocating for this, and thank you to the administration and the board for your consideration.
Hello everyone, part of the school board. My name is Nikki Lynn and I'm currently a junior actually at this high school, right next South High. And I'm here today because I've personally been affected by the absence of Asian American history in our public school systems. Because of this, ignorance towards white people has been excused and normalized. You don't realize how much of a toll this is on our communities until you see it firsthand. The racism someone like me faces in our daily lives. A few years back, I met my mother, an older gentleman came up and asked me my name. Unexpectedly, he laughed when I told him my name was Vicky. He proceeded to ask me my real name, insinuating my name is too American, and I looked too ethnic or Oriental to have a stereotypical American name. His microaggressions continued with statements such as, "What's your real name? How do you end up with a name like that?" For a few seconds, I didn't know how to respond. I never felt racism that was so painfully condescending in a subtle way. It was disheartening, especially since the older gentleman seemed like he was not intentionally trying to be racist or hostile. He was simply uneducated and ignorant that Asian American is still an American. This man's actions represented racist stereotypes and viewpoints of Asian Americans that linger in our society to this day. Racism towards our people has been evident since the beginning of Asian American history and immigration in the U.S. when Chinese American leaders were first banned entering due to widespread xenophobia and viewing them as economic, health, and moral threats. The fact that xenophobia towards Asian Americans has resurfaced at an all-time high since the COVID-19 pandemic just further proves that there isn't enough being done to educate the public. We are sick and tired of having to see our friends and family get blamed for global pandemics and watch our elderly get pushed, beaten, and killed over racist misinformation. Implementing Asian American history in our schools curriculum is a step towards promoting an equitable view of Asian Americans in our country. It's an opportunity to teach a true history of Asian Americans who have endured pain while also sharing our wonderful traditions and culture. Ignorance should no longer be an excuse nor an option for anti-Asian hate. Please join me in support of this movement so we can make sure that hate crimes and daily microaggressions toward Asian Americans do not repeat themselves for future generations. We have the resources and privilege of starting a new beginning, one that will be the turn of the century and be the voice for change.
Hello. Thank you, first of all, just thank everyone here on the board for opening up this meeting for us. And it's really nice to see other Asian Americans come on to talk about the importance of reading our history in American history. And I'm just going to start. My name is John Kim, and I'm an alumni of Very South High School. school and middle school in class of 2020. I just wanted to ask about the inclusion of DEI policy in schools and increasing representation of staff members. In case you don't know what DEI policy is, it's New York State's DEI policy, which asks for diversity, equity, and inclusion in schools and workplaces to provide a learning environment to not only learn about from each other, but also expand their horizons. I believe that it is necessary or urgent matter for a district like Great to initiate New York State policy because of the demographics. We have a student population consisting of the majority of being non-white in many of the schools, especially in Great South, personal experience. And it's majority of being non-whites, people of color, ranging from blacks to Latinos and to Asians. However, contrasting to the demographics, there has been a lack of representation among teachers and staff members. As a former student here at both Great South Middle and High School, I had great memories with fellow students, teachers and staff members. However, I had times when, as an Asian American and as a Korean American, always felt like I didn't have someone who I could relate to in the school building. Someone who can understand my academic pressure that is placed on my shoulders, the burden of trying to feel accepted in American society without being viewed as a cultural foreigner. I just needed someone who just understood my struggles. And a cultural foreigner, like many people stated here, starts with education. And I remember in AP US history class, a lot of the history was based on white perspectives, what they did. Most of the time when Asian history was mentioned, it was most likely when we were helped by the whites and us as a first generation immigrants and foreigners, which was really not the case for many of us right now. And I believe that many other students of Asian descent and people who are represented felt the same as well. And I believe that Great South High School should implement the DEI policy, that the school can be the forefront of the Great District. And therefore I ask the board members to initiate the DEI policy here in Great for the state of providing a safe and effective environment for students. Thank you.
Hello, thank you for offering us this opportunity to speak. Hi, I'm John. I'm a middle high student, and I am a proud Chinese American. In the mid-1800s, when America was first building their first railroads, Chinese immigrants made up 90% of the American railroad company's workforce. Their drive, blood, sacrifices led to the completion of the first transcontinental railroad in the United States. In 1885, Mamie Tate, an 8-year-old Chinese American, was denied admission to California public school. Her family sued the all-white San Francisco School District and struck down a board policy that refused to accept students of Chinese descent for safety reasons. Mamie Tate and her family efforts ignited one of the first movements in bringing equality in children's education. In a landmark Supreme Court case in 1897, Wong Kim Ark, a Chinese American, established the principle of birthright citizenship, that if you're born in America, you are granted the rights of an American citizen, regardless of your race. And I know what you're thinking, wow. And that was my first reaction too when I first discovered these monumental moments in American history. I was so proud to learn about the contribution of Asian Americans. But at the same time, I was disappointed that I didn't learn this in school. I learned this myself. And this lack of AAPI history in our curriculum is a problem. I felt the consequences of this issue myself when students in my school spat racial slurs towards Asian classmates. I felt it during the pandemic when they would say COVID starter or bad leader. This hatred stems from ignorance, which is something that is preventable. And this lack of education about Asian American history is something that we can change. Because without this knowledge, we may perpetually be viewed as outsiders, not only by insensitive students, but also by ourselves. With this lack of understanding of Asian American history, we don't know our roots in America. We may not feel as though we truly belong, even though we have been here since the beginning of America in 1600s. We need Asian American education to educate students like me that we are not riding on the sidelines, but play an integral part and active part in the American narrative, that we have our roots in this country, and we need this education to appreciate and be proud of the legacy of Asian Americans. Just like that little Chinese American girl who fought to be a part of the school, we must be part of the curriculum. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Isaac. I live in Great Neck, Kensington. I'm in 9th grade. I go to Great Neck North High School, and I am Asian American. Who am I? I feel lost in history class. I don't see my own history anywhere. You know, we learn so much about the world in school, so many different cultures and peoples, but nothing about us, our race, us Asian Americans. You know, this is like really important to me because I want to know what my forefathers did. Did they contribute anything to America? Did we accomplish anything? Do I belong here? I want to know who I am. I want to establish my identity and know how my forefathers came here, how they got to land and make a community in this country called America. You know, we have such a large Asian American population here in Great Neck, and we learn nothing about them in school, and it's weird. I want to learn and see his history, my history, all my fellow Asian American brothers and sisters' history. I want to belong in this world. I want to have something that tells me I belong where I go to every day, every weekday, from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. So please, let's add Asian American history into our curriculum so that we can know where we come from, what we've accomplished, why we're here, and answer the question, who am I? Thank you.
Thank you. My name is James Wu. I'm a Philadelphia. Just to elaborate on something she said, Asians were known first to America in 1600 in large numbers, but they were also here in the 15th century before. And the first Asian American colony in the United States was in Louisiana in 1763, and they fought under President Andrew Jackson in 1850, defending the United States of America against the British. Thank you.
I thank you all for coming this evening and raising this topic for all of us. I think it's important that we make every student and every child in our schools feel that they are part of what is going on in the schools and everybody is equal. I believe that Dr. Prendergast would like to speak to this in just a moment.
Thank you, Mrs. Perez. First, I do want to take this opportunity to acknowledge our students. I'm so very proud of all of you. I know it's a late night, it's a school night, but clearly this is a very important topic, and you felt that your presence was warranted this evening. So I thank you for your patience as our Board of Education had to go through its business before we got to a point where urban time allowed you to have an opportunity to address our Board of Education. I do want to also acknowledge Kevin's son. Kevin's son had shared with members of Central Office and the Board his message with regards to questions and concerns about AAPI instruction. And I just want you to know a few things. First, as a district, we're aware of what's going on potentially at the state level with regards to introducing students to the contributions of Asian American communities, information with regards to what's going on with the bill that's currently in law. And if that bill were to pass, it's going to require public schools an opportunity to provide instruction in Asian American history and civic impact into the curriculum. And that's the right thing to do, and it's the right time. And I hope that our legislators in Albany will heed and think carefully about that legislation, because I think it's time. However, regardless of the outcome of that work, we agree that it is important to learn about Asian American Pacific Islander history within the context of the United States history. And the AAPI units of study, we know, will certainly enhance and provide an appreciation of Asian American history in terms of helping all of our students understand current issues that are facing members of our community during the pandemic war. I had opportunities to have conversations with our assistant superintendents who are here tonight. That's Dr. Lando and Ms. Newman. And we've had conversations about this topic, and we are in agreement, and we acknowledge that a more coordinated effort to coordinate and recognize AAPI history within our curriculum may be warranted. And here's what we're going to start in terms of the work that needs to get done. And I hope you can appreciate the process by which we're going to follow, because we want to do this right. We're going to start this fall by having conversations with our teachers, our department heads, members of our elementary building curriculum groups, and have an opportunity to review what is currently taught within our curriculum. And I don't want you to think we don't teach AAPI curriculum, because we do, but perhaps we do a better job and be more consistent in its approach. But we want to review what's currently being taught, and then look to identify and write additional curriculum and provide those units of study so that we can incorporate the contributions, the history, and the heritage of Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders within the curriculum that's provided here in Great. Aspects of the AAPI history could also be associated within the literature that we also have at the elementary level, where we're able to introduce existing units of study, elementary, middle, and high school. I've been speaking with Ms. Newman, our assistant superintendent for elementary education. We talked about the fact that we can also continue to build up on our elementary classroom libraries so that we can make sure that the materials in our libraries represent the various features of our Great Neck students, so that it allows all of our students to be introduced to characters and stories that open windows into the lives, customs, and the beliefs of others, not only AAPI, but all cultures, and recognize the fact that there are also mirrors that allow students to see themselves, their own families, and their own identities, so as to celebrate the cultures that they value in the materials that we use. Many of our classroom libraries have been expanded upon over recent years across all of our grade levels, and we're going to look to expand the titles within those libraries that also honor Asian American Pacific Islander history and culture. I also wanted to make one other comment as well, because again, process is important, and I'm so grateful that you share your beliefs with us. We have administrators that are in the audience tonight as well, and they also had an opportunity to listen closely to your comments. But I think it's important to recognize on a broader schedule as well. Our goal in school is always going to be to create and maintain an environment that's inclusive. An inclusive learning environment where all students, regardless of their background or identity, can feel safe, included, welcome, and accepted. And I want to make sure that our students experience a sense of belonging based on the belief that our community's richness and strength comes from its diversity. We know that students see themselves, when you see yourself reflected within the curriculums, your physical surroundings, and the broader environment, it shows and it demonstrates that the diversity within our school systems is honored and that everyone is respected. So I want to just thank you for sharing your comments with us, and please know that this is going to be a goal of ours moving forward, so that we can work collaboratively with administrators and with teachers, and we'll seek outside resources if necessary, so that we can do this right. Thank you.
I felt very strongly that making Lunar New Year a school holiday. But that's not enough. That was at the beginning, and we didn't have to follow up with the district. We did what we felt was the right thing to do, not just because of the size of our population, but because it was important for so many people in our population. By that same principle, listening to what we've heard tonight, we need to do better, we need to do more, and we will. Most certainly our assistant superintendents are already working on it. It has to be done a certain way. As Dr. Prendergast said, it has to be done with process. In the schools, it has to be done clearly to make sure we bring everybody on board for this. But it will be done, and I thank all of you. Thank you, Kevin, for sticking to it. As you know, through the years, this has been so important to you. And it's not just because of the size of the population or because it's legislation now, but because it's the right